Hi there, welcome to the 50minds channel. So my name is Tia, I am the founder of 50minds. We are a business that builds custom AI solutions for small to medium sized businesses, and today I'm going to show you how we made a business £30,000 by implementing 3 simple but key processes into their business. So just a bit about 50minds. We have been running for 2 years now. We build custom AI solutions for all sizes of businesses, primarily SMEs, 50 to 500 employees, and we custom code these solutions. So we have worked with hundreds of businesses across the UK, and we continue to grow and help more clients. So I want to show you how we have genuinely implemented helpful AI and automation solutions into businesses. Did you know that 25% of AI projects in companies actually don't make a return on investment? And ROI is at the core of what we do. So the primary reason for this channel is to help businesses actually get return on investment from AI. So AI in business, where does one begin? So this client was a few million in revenue, and they were an e-commerce business. They had an in-person store, but primarily they operated off of e-commerce. There was about 30 employees, and it was chaos. It was absolute chaos. There was like paper invoices everywhere. There was a lot going on, and they were very stressed. They weren't making the profit margins they wanted to, and they were wondering how can AI help. And they were looking online. I think they bought a few off-the-shelf softwares that didn't actually help at all. If anything, hindered the time spent setting it up, etc. And they didn't end up really using them. So where to begin? So when it comes to AI in business, I always suggest we map out processes to begin with. So we sat down with their team and understood their workflows. We identified where time is being wasted, where there was money falling out of the businesses, where leads were being lost. And in that, we found about 500 hours worth of time that was being wasted. So we looked at the 3 big but quick wins that we could get out of it. And the ones that we found were missed follow-ups, losing leads. There was email overload. They were getting about 50, 60 emails just into one of their inboxes every single day, and invoice entries. So they were losing leads with missed follow-ups. There was so many emails that even the managing director was actually answering the emails. And then there was somebody literally sat entering invoices all day. Those were essentially 3 people's complete jobs. And we found a way that we could automate pretty much all of that. So then we looked at what softwares they were using. Can this actually be automated? So missed follow-ups, they had a CRM system and they used Outlook. 2 very integratable softwares. That's one key thing, is when you're looking at your processes, is it online? Is it on a software? Is it on-prem? Is it in the cloud? Where is it hosted? Because that's key to automation. Email overload, that was all in Outlook. And the emails that they were asking about were linked to their order system. And then invoices were all sent through Outlook to a certain mailbox. So those are all really easy to integrate with. Excellent. So let's look about how we actually built those. So the way that we solved the lack of follow-up for all the leads and all of the missing out of the opportunities, and the lack of coordination between teams as well, was a CRM automation. So they already had a CRM in, excellent. They didn't use it enough. Some people did use it, some people didn't. So what we did was we connected their phone system, their emails, which was Outlook, and their calendar. all to the CRM. So a lot of softwares actually do have ways that you can integrate at very least your email and your calendar in with your CRM. But when it comes to more niche businesses, I find that they don't. They don't have those big CRMs. They tend to use CRMs that are a bit more niche. So we set up a system that looked at their phone, email, and calendar and synced that all into the CRM. And this is possible for any business, not just ones that have integrations with those bigger CRMs. Even if you've got a niche CRM or you all just do it on an Excel spreadsheet, there is ways to do that. So there's two ways of going about automations. There is low code and custom code. So at 50minds, we do everything custom code because we are programmers, but that's not necessarily needed. Using low-code tools such as Power Automate, Zapier, Make.com, they're all excellent as well, and they will connect likely with your CRM. If they don't, then there's a bit of learning required on APIs, but that's relatively simple and definitely something I can do in another video. So let's say we are doing this. We did it custom code, but I'll go through both low code and custom code of how you would do this. So phones, they already had a VoIP system, and what we did was they were already recording their calls anyway, but when calls were recorded, it was then turned into a transcript, and then it was summarized. Both of these can be done with any sort of AI system. There is ones that do transcription as their core thing, but OpenAI do that as well through their API, and summaries can also be done through any of the language models, but let's say the OpenAI API. So if you pay for the enterprise version, then it's all kept private as well, which is excellent. Or if you use Azure OpenAI, then that's all kept private as well. If you just use the OpenAI API, I still believe that is used for training. So that's just one thing to be cautious of. And then when it was summarized, we used an API that goes into their CRM. So the question that you're probably thinking is, how does it know what customer is talking to? So it does identify. So not only is it summarized in the OpenAI API, is also identifying a customer using name. So it outputs both the summary and the name of the customer. If that's not apparent, then there is a fallback, which is always important to have. If it was unable to find it, it knows who the person who answered the call was just through the VoIP system, and it will send an email asking who it was, so that you reply with the customer name, and then it will put that into the CRM. So that solved a lot of problems. There was no need to go into the CRM and update it. There was no need to everything. There was a lot of leads that were not lost because it was updated what they were doing, and we also set up reminders in their CRM to do follow-ups, etc. Okay, so that's the phone system. Then the email system. So it would also look at their emails in Outlook, and it would summarize them and put them in the CRM based on the last bit of their email. It would identify the customer that it is. If there was any issues in fallbacks, that would again be flagged in an email sent to whoever was dealing with them to confirm. However, generally speaking, that worked 100% of the time, is that they were communicating with someone and it was relevant to that client, and it would automatically, the email conversation or summary would get put in the CRM. And then there was the calendar. So it would look at the calendar invites that people had in their teams, and it would update automatically in the CRM whether they had any meetings coming up with anyone with, again, this domain. And that saved about 30 hours a week at least. But that's not it. It did not just update. It also sent follow-ups. So if someone had inquired about an order but had yet to place an order, then we would look up to their order system, see if they'd taken any activity, and then follow up with an email. So that's how we sorted out their CRM system. So we added actions by follow-ups, and we also sorted out all of the inputs into the CRM. So next was the email system. They were absolutely riddled with emails into their main inbox, which was essentially people asking where their order was, asking for updates and certain questions. So what we'd do is when an email would come in, we have the AI categorize it, so that can be OpenAI through the OpenAI API or any other language model, and we'd get it to output a category. So it would either be a category of order update, product question, refund, or warranty, or other. You can obviously split this into more categories, but this was what was relevant for them. So let's go through other. If it was other, it was just left in the mailbox. It was left for someone to manually look at. Refund or warranty would be forwarded to another mailbox, not another mailbox, to an actual person's mailbox. A product question would look up to a knowledge base that was about all of their products that they had. This was using OpenAI, and it would then answer that question and email them back. To begin with, I recommend, or always, doing a draft response, so then someone can go through and check and send them. It's also key that if there was not that information in the knowledge base, then it would say that it can't find it, and it would leave to a human. So, and then order update, we would use regex to get out the number, so that just identifies when there's a certain number to get the order ID, because it was a very certain format. And if there was no order ID and they just emailed in, then we'd look at their email. If you wanted to also be conscious on safety as well, you can do an automatic reply that would ask for their postcode or something like that, just to confirm, or what's your order ID, etc. And then it will look up to their internal order system and then create a draft response telling them where their order was and when it would be with them. That saved them pretty much at least 5 hours a day, genuinely. And that's a lot. So that saved them a load of time. Looking, especially at these order updates, would take about 5 minutes to do per one, and it's all done in a second. And then there's the invoice automation. It was pretty much someone's job to sit there and look at the invoices that come in and upload it to their finance system. So, how did we automate this entire process? So, email comes in, invoices came into a certain inbox, so that was helpful. So, it comes in. Then pass it through an OCR reader. My favourite one is Azure Document Processor, and it will essentially pick out all the relevant parts of the invoice. There was about 10 suppliers, so all of the documents were trained on those exact supplier invoices, and so it picked it out with 100% accuracy. It would pick out the name of the account, the line items, the cost, the VAT, etc. And all of that information would then it would map based on the email, so whatever email account it was that sent it would be mapped to the supplier number in their accounting software, and all of the information would be auto uploaded to their accounting software as well, and it would be created as a draft, so that the finance lady would just go in and check it and submit. So with this, we saved hundreds and hundreds of hours per month for this one client, and it definitely saved at least £30,000 annually, if not more. The system paid for itself within 2 weeks, I think, roughly, and the managing director actually got time to refocus on work. So those other employees, just to be clear, didn't get fired or anything like that. The employees that were doing that, they got given different jobs and were still sending out the drafts and things like that, but also doing more meaningful and enjoyable work. So you don't need to build this yourself. You can use low code. Those softwares, Zapier, Make, they're all very straightforward automation softwares. Or you can get someone to custom code it for you. So that's exactly what we do at 50minds, is we build this all out for you. We'll look at your processes, look at where you can save the most time, and we'll do the complete process start to finish. So if you want to get in touch, feel free to book in a call and we can identify some of those time and money leaks and make you a load more money. So thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate the support and I hope to hear from you soon. And if not, then we'll see you in the next video.